Hello everyone. I'm very excited to share this video with you. Oh my gosh, I'm about to be able to show you an area of the garden that's still under construction, but that I have been hiding from myself and from you all season. Firstly, this area here, these Bobo hydrangeas are like lush beyond belief. They are happy here. Happy, happy. They look beautiful. My urn has seen better days. I had daisies in there and I pulled them out and replaced them with a little boxwood, and the whole entire scene is hurt in there. So I'll address that later. There have been some things that I have knowingly neglected because I have been working so hard on so many other areas. The window box hasn't skipped a beat though. It's looking so beautiful. But I want to show you what I've been working on. Okay, so firstly, I have extended or changed the configuration of this boxwood hedge. So you'll notice that there's a couple, little small fries in here, and this one looks particularly sad. But wouldn't you look sad too if you were ripped out in 90+ degree weather when you were all nice and comfy where you were? Yes, I think we would all be a little bit perturbed by that. So I had the 3x3 raised beds here that were just, I wanted them to work. I was going to keep them here. We actually had plans of making some really pretty cloche covers for the top, but no matter what I tried, everything I thought of, everything that I wanted was like a roadblock for me. I couldn't get past the fact that they were there. So they're gone. I'm keeping them. We dismantled them and we're keeping them. And hold on one second. We're keeping them because I like them. They're a nice size. They're 3x3 with the copper caps. I like them. I might use them someday. I don't know. The other larger beds, those are gone. Those were, I'll say, donated to other family members. But the ones that I had here, the two that I had here on either side, I like them. So I'm keeping them, and who knows, maybe down the line, they're cedar, they're nice, and maybe I'll use them for something. But this was not the place. The more I looked at it, the more I thought I was forcing it, and I'm tired of forcing things. I don't want to force something. If it doesn't feel right now, don't try and make it feel right. Find out what is going to feel right, and then do that. So those are broken down, have them in storage, because, with the vegetable garden moving back there, there's no need for raised beds here. It was like keeping a remnant of something that was no longer here, and it just didn't fit. So anyway, the boxwood here, the nice full fluffy one that isn't mad at me, that was the end point. And then these two here and the others returned that way, right past the faucet there. So it stopped here. So, and then the raised bed was on the opposite side. So right in here was that raised bed. I thought, what this really needs, it needs to end at this fence picket here. It needs to include these plants. It needs to stop here, the hedge, return here, and come down this way. So that's what I did. I love it. The whole space feels much more open. It just feels good. It just feels good. The whole view. Before, I felt like I was just trapping myself in. Before I felt like I was trapping myself in, like there was too many things to look at. You had the raised bed here with the obelisk on top of that. Then you had the willow cloche that you see right here next to that. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And then beyond that, the arbor, which has always felt kind of a little bit out of place to me too, if I'm being honest, because before it separated our driveway from our patio and backyard space. But I'm keeping it here. I have no plans in the immediate future to move that arbor, especially now that, I'm reconfiguring the layout. I'm making it less visually cluttered for me and more open. So with that, let's swing around this way because we can now. Look, I have extended now this to match. They both match. And eventually these will fill in. Got some angry looking, especially that one. There's a couple that are particularly angry at me for getting moved around. But I've been watering them, watering like crazy. And I put the Biotone starter fertilizer. I'm treating them like a brand new plant. And hopefully they will establish. I've been babying them because it's not the best time to be transplanting. So you just got to take extra care. Anyway, I'm eliminating a lot of the gravel. And I created a whole new space here for plants. I'm thrilled with it. I am absolutely thrilled with it. So this will be all plants. I have plans for shrubs and, you know, all sorts of goodness to be planted in here. I'm excited. I am excited because when this asphalt came out, it was in 2020, we had a team come out, remove the asphalt. That was when I had the, you know, the grand idea of I'll make this a vegetable garden. Well, you know, so we had the driveway removed in 2020 because I wanted to be able to plant in all of these areas. And boy, I'm glad I did that now because I do want to plant in all these areas. I thought, you know, in the future, I might really want to do that. And here we are a few years later, and that's what I'm doing. So with that, you know, this whole entire space was gravel. I was out here raking gravel in this entire area and putting the raised beds, you know, the gravel around the raised beds, of course, but gravel, like gravel, as far as the eye could see, it was just overwhelmingly gravel. And I never cared for it. I felt like it was just way too much. Even now it's a lot. I might do something to break it up with stepping stones and some other things. Because like I said, this is all plantable area, and I plan on actually putting some pots and containers and things in that little nook right there, just like I have this planter here in this little nook. So those areas will get filled up, and then you got to imagine this will be all softened with plants. So it's going to make a huge difference to have, you know, this extended. The raised beds gone, those will even out. So, you know, if they don't look even now, they will even out as much as possible. And this is not perfection. This is me doing this stuff. So I've been coming out here every day. You can see my tools, the loppers, because I've been cutting roots out of this area like crazy. There's just been so many roots, and trying to make things as even as possible. I've been using that rubber echo border from Home Depot. It's super easy. My rake that I don't even look at because I'm tired of raking gravel and I've got calluses on my hands, and I'm just, raking gravel is just like the worst thing ever. And because I've not thought things through properly to begin with, and I've rushed things, or I've changed my mind, I guess is more like it, I've found myself graveling in the gravel, raking gravel in the summer, like year after year. I don't want to ever again. Please, no. Oh, okay, so moving on. This will be filled with plants. We've got the knot garden here, which I truly love. So another thing that I did was, these areas were always kind of just haphazard. I had these two pots here that have the dwarf Alberta spruce topiaries on either side here. So those were there, plus the willow thing, plus the raised bed, and the obelisk that Mark built. Oh my gosh, it was just so much stuff. I started to feel like claustrophobic. So I'm like, let me move the pots away from here. I don't need the pots here. Open this area up. I made little rectangular beds to plant in. For right now, I just put a couple little echinacea in there. Those plants might change. I'm sure they will, but those plants were dying to be planted in a little container. Those are actually echinacea that reseeded from other powwow white that I had. And when I was weeding earlier in the season, I grabbed a pot and I poked some in, and that's what those are. So they're planted here, and if they put on any growth, I'll move them in the fall maybe, or I'll have another plan for this space. But we've got Sir Henry, the bunny here. He may or may not stay there, but I do love him. He is so cute. I got him from the Philadelphia Flower Show several years ago and carried that heavy piece of concrete around with me in a canvas tote. I'll never forget. It was right before the pandemic, and it was like the last place I visited with my parents. It was me and my mom and dad, and I hauled that thing all around. We stopped at Termini Brothers, got ourselves some cannolis, and I'm like lugging around this heavy, heavy bunny. But there he is. He's cute. So yeah, so now this is nice and clean. I can put some little herb pots and things there. It feels good. It feels clean. It feels like I can breathe and I don't have too many things to look at. And this is what I want to look at anyway. This is like the focal point. This is the main focal point, and I could just stare at this all day. I truly, truly love this space. I think it turned out tremendous. This area was like the biggest mess of them all. So I had the remnants of the raised beds. There was 2 rectangular raised beds here and 2 here. And the mounds of soil and the weeds that were growing in those mounds of soil. Oh boy, it was just a mess. I did not want to look at it. I didn't know what to do. So I started thinking about, well, what do I want for myself in this space? I've got 2 dogwoods up above from my neighbor. I love dogwoods, and a giant maple tree. So there's shade here. I love this view. So what better than to have a nice bench to sit, since this was just sitting off in no man's land over here. I didn't know where to put it. Make a little intentional notch out so I'm not walking through muck or mud to get to the bench, and just a nice clean spot to sit in the shade and enjoy. Let's have a seat so we can see how I see it, because I just love it. So I sat on this bench for a while before I made that notch out, and I thought, yep, this is it. This is the view I want to see. This is where I want to be. This is my spot. I'm claiming it. And it has just been perfect. It's been absolutely perfect. So I am usually really, really big on symmetry. I love things to be even and balanced. But with something as, complicated for me and grand and visually intense as this is, there was no way I was going to replicate that on this side. I couldn't if I even wanted to, because one, I don't have any I don't have any budget for more plants to do something like that. And also, it's a lot of shade up above. This area gets far more sun than this area does. So they would never be even anyway. They would never match anyway. So I kind of had to just pull the plug on my brain of symmetry and get creative. It's hard. It's hard, guys, to, come up with things like, ooh, I get stuck. And sometimes my getting stuck cripples me from making any decisions at all. And then I'm left looking at a pile of dirt with weeds growing in it. And now I get this view. I love it. So those Alberta spruce are here. I do need to level out the soil. It's still, this is a work in progress, but I can actually sit here now and enjoy this space. And I'm thrilled with that. So I've got the Alberta spruce here, which I think look lovely on either side of the bench. I have some really sad phlox that I need to water. I've been trying to keep it babied in the shade, but you can see they are not happy, but I love that color and I need to water them today. Oh my goodness gracious. The weather has been lying, and I've been anticipating rain that happened for like 5 seconds yesterday. So I'll get out and water them. But look at this nice curve I'm creating. This was always just, a pile of dirt forever. When I had the raised beds in here, there was nothing. It was nothing. And just kind of like half gravel, half dirt, just a kicked up mess. So I'm starting to create this almost like a welcome mat to the shed. I will do it on this side as well, but I've got my cafe au lait dahlias that are getting ready to bloom here. These 2 never really caught up after they were munched down, and that's okay. I'm thankful for the ones that I have. But I will complete this design once the season is over, and I'll have a nice swoop of a welcome mat. And just to mention it, since I'm in the garage area, I've said this before, but for anyone that's new, this is not really a garage. I forced this to be a garage. 20 years ago, this was a shed. It is a shed. It had manual double doors that looked like a barn with big X's on them. This was red. So it was a red little shed with big double open doors that swung open and X's on them, big white X's, and a dirt floor inside. And it was just, I guess they used it as a workspace. Our house was built in 1920. I don't know if this is original or not, but I got the crazy idea that I wanted a one-car garage. So we had concrete poured on the floor years and years back, 15 years ago. I'm glad for that because it's nice and clean. I have no regrets there. But soon after parking in there, I realized how tight it was. It was really bad. I had to put a little blinking stop sign up at the back of the shed. So because if I pulled up too far, my car would literally tap the wall. So this blinking stop sign let me know that I had to stop. And then my car doors would slam into the walls. And I put little strips of like foam tape so that I didn't ding my car. I forced it, right? Stop. No more forcing. Wish I did not put an electric door on in retrospect. I never knew that this was what was going to be to come and that I wouldn't be parking in there because it just wasn't feasible anyway. So my plan is to get double carriage doors that look similar to this because I like this style, that open and close and get it back to the way it once looked. I like these curved windows. I like this look. I have 2 windows on either side. I don't want, a tiny door with a window on the side or a window box. I don't want anything like that. Just like this, but actual doors and probably a curved top around it. So that's the plan going forward. Guess what? Finding somebody that will make shed doors and not want to sell you an entire shed is difficult and also expensive. So we are thinking about what to do there. My dad put this scalloping in for me because it matches the peaks that were here on the house when I moved in. And my dad said, oh, I can do that. I can make that match. So that little gingerbread detailing my father put in for me years ago. So that's the plan for that. And that will eventually be, I envision, long work tables. Right now, it's a junk hole, okay? It's got my kids' bikes. It's got the lawnmower and the shovels and, oh, so many things. It's yeah, probably snakes in there too. I'm sure. We've had multiple snake encounters coming from these parts. Don't want to think about it, but cleaning that up and being able to see would be helpful. I would be very happy about that. That's on a future plan. Let's get this sorted out first. Climbing hydrangea. I've kept so many of these, every plant, in containers, like waiting to be planted. I planted this for about 2 days over here in front of the trellis, and I planted it in the gravel. It was just like a gravel, like a mud pit. What was I thinking? And then I'm like, no. Do better. Breathe. Take your time. Don't act until you have a plan. Don't just do things because you feel like you have to. Keep the hydrangea watered. It will be there. It'll be fine. So that's what I did. I promptly removed it, put it back in the nursery can, and I've been watering it for probably 2 months and keeping it in the shade. But here it is. And these are slower growing, but I can envision like a wall of that climbing hydrangea, and they get large too. And if it took over that trellis, I wouldn't be mad. Take over the whole fence, because ultimately my plan is to hide this fence. I want to cover the fence and make it more soft, like I've started to make these other areas of the garden with the trellising and everything that I have there. And then I've got the arborvitaes over here. So I want to do that same kind of thing. This is a tricky area though, because you've got the shade above, but then as you move down this way, it's sunny. So if I put a row of arborvitaes, eventually it's going to be like, which it actually is over here. I've got a little short arborvitae right there because you got the canopy of the tree that has grown over top of it. And I don't want that in such an open space to have that, that slope. It would just look awful. Behind my greenhouse, it doesn't matter, and it adds a nice green texture behind my greenhouse. But out here in the open, that's not the look I'm going for. Also, speaking of, just referencing my last video, I might, because these crepe myrtles are going to get quite large and have a huge canopy, I might end up leaving one in the middle and moving these two, but I'm going to address that in the fall. They're blooming now and they're beautiful now, but that's going to be a huge tree. So those two might come out and the one might remain. I don't want to do that. I love to have all three right there in a row, but we're talking massive, massive. You got to imagine the canopy from this one tree alone is going to fill this, you know, like this entire space. So I would just move those other two crepe myrtles to other areas, probably over here somewhere. You know, we'll think about that later. We'll think about that later because it doesn't matter right now. Anyway, that's my driveway update that I'm extremely excited to share with you. It's really looking neat and clean. It's making me feel good. I'm able to come out to the patio now and have my coffee and enjoy. I'm excited. I really am. This is like the most me I think I have felt in the garden, the most confident I have felt in the garden, and comfortable myself and comfortable to show you guys around and to talk about things, because it's just always felt like there was some major disarray happening, which makes it hard. You know, you're out here trying to do a video and in the corner of your eye you're just seeing this big pile of dirt and weeds. Don't get me wrong, I still got lots of weeds. There's lots of weeds here. There's lots of things to tackle, and there always will be. That's part of gardening, but I can breathe out here now. I don't have, you know, all these obstacles, and I feel like I can finally tweak and refine and add and edit. You know, maybe I'll hate some of the plants that are in here and change them over time, but that's the fun part, right? Is that's the fun part of gardening, trying new things and changing, not the gravel raking and complete redesign. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just plant up the areas I have and share that joy with you guys. Okay, I hope this inspired you. I really do, because I struggle very much so in coming up with designs and layouts and things like that. So I hope you maybe got some ideas for your space too. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you tremendously. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, I really hope you will, because good things are coming. I have this whole space to plant, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share that with you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope I'm getting this out on Friday, because I kind of promised you I would, and I'm hoping I will. So if I did get this out on Friday, have a great weekend. If I didn't, I hope you're having a great weekend. And I will see you guys in my next video.